This is the virtual film set of the future. We're democratizing access to it so that anyone can just make virtual videos directly in their studios without having to rent out a giant LED wall.
So it brings down the overall budget for a lot of film studios, even some of the startup ones.
Exactly, and it's really important for things like pre-visualization as well, to get their ideas pitched in for something that actually ends up in like a film or a TV show.
Let's go for a walk and look at some of the other devices. I actually thought I was coming here to talk to you about virtual reality and the Vive concept, but there's so much more than just virtual reality. Talk us through, though, what the entrance of Apple's new mixed reality headset has done for the market. Very high-end, but you're in the high-end space too. How has it changed the landscape?
I think having Apple come in has really validated everything that we've invested in our hardware, our platform, our infrastructure, and we've seen a lot more interest in this space. And even this show, we've had a ton of people. We've had thousands of people come through and do demos, and it's been really rewarding to see people actually getting into the VR space because of someone as big as Apple getting into the game.
What's demand like at the moment for some of these devices? And when we're going into a slightly tougher consumer environment, people are trading down on some of their purchase decisions already. Is it impacting demand for some of these devices?
We're actually very happy with a lot of the demand that we're seeing, and as we especially build out the ecosystem with not just headsets, but also tracking for your face, your eyes, your full body, and we're seeing people dancing in VR as well. This space is massively growing in both consumer and businesses, and that's what we're showing here.
I just want to point out, this is the virtual reality space over here. Now, Apple has gesture control, but you still use a controller. How are you thinking about the evolution of the device?
Actually, so we believe that controllers give you certain immersion with things like, for example, guns. Here, we're not actually using a controller, we're using an integrated toy gun, basically. But we've had hand tracking for the past 4 or 5 years now. So, it's something we've invested in, but we still think that there is a space for controllers, especially when it comes to gaming. And, sometimes people still use styluses instead of just a touchscreen when they're actually creating, because it just brings accuracy and intuitiveness.
AI is changing the landscape everywhere here in Europe. How is it changing your future?
We've had a vision which included AI for the past, since Vive evolved. And here we're actually showcasing how it's going to improve remote collaboration by doing meeting minutes in VR, by being able to have live translation in VR as well. And we're expanding our AI suites every single week.
I want to ask you about smartphones. For a long time, you were one of the big leading smartphone companies. A lot of people are probably familiar with HTC because of that. But since the change around Samsung and Apple and the devices in recent years, your market share has slipped. Does AI change your fortunes? Do you see a way of a comeback thanks to AI in the smartphone market?
HTC has always been in a computing space. And for us, our vision of Viveverse, spatial computing, this is where we see the future, and this is where we've invested a ton of our resources. And a lot of our previous smartphone team also moved over to Google, so they're now building the Pixel phones. So for us, a lot of our focus is on our Viveverse ecosystem and building out next generation computing there.
Just very quickly too, we had a big complaint from the big telcos yesterday that they're concerned that they don't have the ability to invest, that scale is a challenge because of all the regulation. Are you seeing problems with latency that impacts all the devices here, dropouts, content not being as good as it should be?
Of course, and latency is always an issue, especially for things like VR, mixed reality, where if there is latency, you might get motion sick. So we've invested in this space for a long time as well, with, for example, our private 5G solutions. That's both software in the infrastructure and also the hardware. And for AI, it's going to be really important as well. We want responses very, very quickly. So, all of this is going to be really important for AI and mixed reality.
Just very quickly before I throw it back, what's happening here? There's some football fans in the studio. They're going to ask me what's going on here.
So right here is a demo built by a team in the UK called Rezel. They actually use something like this for Premier League football training. So for professional football training, they use this for shooting training, like here, penalty shooting, and they also have plans to do it for rehabilitation as well.
Shen Ye.